welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber King of the Depths, this is Hogaak Cauldron. I believe King of the Depths found this somewhere in a 5.0 deck dump or something. I don't know the name of the original person, but shout out to you. This is quite the hybrid. There's basically three things happening here. One of them is Scam. Grave Reanimate. Boring, I know, but here it is. It makes sense in the shell, and it's very strong, just in general in the format. You don't need me to tell you that if you've played Legacy at all in the last year. But here it is. It's available. It's also a Hogaak deck. Hogaak, historically really good at grinding through control decks and Delver kind of stuff. Takes pretty specific graveyard hate to break up a Hogaak situation. Citrus Supplier, Stalactite Stalker, Orcish Bowmaster, Grist, providing tons of black creatures that you can convoke the Hogaak out with. Citrus Supplier being kind of the nuts. It fuels the Hogaak, finds the Hogaak, and then taps to cast the Hogaak. Delighted Halfling ramps out Grist uncounterably and makes Agatha Soul Cauldron uncounterable, while also being a green creature to convoke Hogaak. And then the third deck that's here is Agatha Soul Cauldron combo. Soul Cauldron plus Grist is pretty insane. Every creature with a +1 counter on it can now +1 loyalty to mill and make an insect. And if you have creatures in your deck like Stalactite Stalker and Orc Army tokens that just have +1 counters on them anyway, then you don't need to invest into the Soul Cauldron onto them, and you could very quickly be making 4, 5, 7, and beyond insect tokens each turn once a Grist is under the Cauldron. And Phyrexian Devourer is not infinite damage, but it's enough damage in combat to defeat an opponent if it goes under Cauldron. The trick with Devourer is it has the ability of exile the top card of your library, put X +1 counters on this creature, where X is the exiled card's mana value, which means that if Phyrexian Devourer is in your graveyard and Agatha Soul Cauldron's untapped, you can attack with any number of creatures, and whichever one goes unblocked, you can Cauldron, put a counter on it, exile the Devourer, then just start exiling cards from your deck, and then until this thing has 20 power, and then you win. So this is aggressively disruptive with Grief. It is aggressively aggressive with Hogaak and Stalactite Stalker, and then it also has a combo win with Soul Cauldron, Supplier fuels it, Entomb can dump a Grist or a Devourer to go under the Cauldron, can dump a Hogaak. This looks very simple. It's basically a deck full of 4-ofs, but there's a lot going on in these 4-ofs, and I'm excited to try this. Let's do it. This is Hogaak Cauldron from King of the Depths. I'm on the draw in round 1 against Swordfish Trombone. I don't know who this is, but I appreciate their username. I'm going to keep this hand with an uncounterable turn 2 Grist and a very fast Hogaak. Opponent all to 5. That's a little spooky if they are some sort of send it combo deck. I'm not set up for that. Lotus Petal. Good start, me. Cool. Dark Ritual. Are we going to start off our league with the cool Golgari deck? Just dying with no interaction in hand? Hey, Swordfish Trombone said they like the YouTube. Everyone say hi to Swordfish Trombone. Already shouted out their username. I love when opponents are just like, hey, I love your channel. Die. Like that was mid combo. They were like Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. Hey, I love your YouTube. Balustrade Spy. It's just funny when it works that way. Okay. We have gotten smoked. I just want to look at their deck before I concede. One thing that is relevant in this matchup is Agatha Soul Cauldron is half of an unlicensed hearse. You can just exile their Thassa's Oracle if I were to get this thing in play, and they have to remove that first. The good news is we're going to go into game 2 without them knowing what we're doing. The bad news is our round 1 started with an immediate turn 0 loss. Okay, Leyline of the Void comes in. Veil of Summer might come in. If we end up in any sort of back and forth counterplay situation, Veil of Summer's fine. Force of Vigor I don't really like, but it could do something clutch like take out a Chrome Mox, or if they pivot onto Goblin Charbelcher, it can take that out. Okay. I want my acceleration, that's halfling. I want my graveyard disruption, that's Soul Cauldron. Bowmaster is really interesting because it's irrelevant to the actual play patterns here, but it is how I get Hogaak into play. But I might not need Hogaak in play, really. I could probably shave on that. I believe Soul Cauldron is my most important main deck card in this matchup. Grief probably right behind it. Soul Cauldron and Grief are the main things here. Stalactite Stalker applies pressure, but like kind of poorly. I don't want to sideboard so hard that I can't play the game anymore. I'm just going to stop here. I'll leave one Force of Vigor out. All right, let's try this. Leyline's going to be pretty important. Leyline or Grief are necessary to keep hands. Okay, turn 1 Scam with Veil of Summers to follow it up. I'll keep this. Might not be good enough. If they mull to 5 again and go all in on a turn 1 win, it probably will be good enough. Also, there's a cool thing where if I Grief a Balustrade Spy out of them, then reanimate it and target them, they might just die to that. Okay, so Thoughtseize, Simian Spirit Guide, Cabal Therapy. I'm going to take the Informer, and I could just reanimate the Informer and hit them with their own junk. That was a funny way to say that. I think I'm actually going to leave up Veil of Summer for the turn, because I can reanimate, then activate Informer next turn and protect myself from this Thoughtseize in the interim. Turn Timber, land is in play, untapped, Lotus Petal. Are we just going to die? You just drew another one? Is that what's happening? Okay, I'm getting Thoughtseized. Bayou, Veil of Summer. Let's hope the master plan here was to just discard me multiple times off that Dark Ritual, and that they didn't just draw another payoff. Thoughtseize eats poo here. 1 unknown card in hand. If it's a Spy or a Informer, we're dead. Jesus Christ. Okay. We're dead. Good game, I guess. I mean, it's fine. This is what this deck is built to do, but they did just, like, raw rip a 7-outer when they were dead next turn. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 2. This hand is pretty slow. What does this even do? It like entombs for the Devourer, plays Cauldron on 2, and then tries to win with a Grist token eventually. This is not good enough. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, I don't hate this one. I'm going to just lead on Stalactite Stalker, bottom the Dryad Arbor. This is kind of fair, like distressingly fair, but it is well set up. If I draw an Entomb or a Stitcher Supplier, there's a lot to like, a lot of upside. Maybe I'm supposed to fetch Basic Swamp here just in case, but if they want to take a turn off Wastelanding me when I already have a threat in play, that's a deal. Got a Verdant Catacombs over there. It's the mirror match, 100%. Forest, probably not the mirror match. Definitely not. You have a Maya in the graveyard. I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp and then attack. I don't really need to fetch first, but I'm going to. This thing has Menace. And opponent looks like they're probably a Life from the Loam deck, which means that the Soul Cauldron's half of an unlicensed Hearse expression is actually pretty good. Impression? I said expression. Literally the opposite of impression. Thanks a lot, Latin. Okay. Passing the turn, I have a 3-3. I have some mild graveyard hate set up. If I draw Entomb, I can present a win. Saga. Restrider Lookout. Alright, when you commit crimes, this ramps. That's freaking sweet. This card's been popping up in Modern a lot. Very cool card. I'm gonna exile their Yavimaya while we're hanging out, and it's free to do. The Supplier. Okay. Yeah, I'll start with a Supplier. Supply me. Let's just flip the Devourer and win. Grist. That's a big game. I can exile Grist, put a counter on Stitcher Supplier. Stalactite Stalker already has this ability. Grist. +1 counter on Supplier. Just spreading the love around. Plus my Grist. One of my many Grists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could cast Hogaak with what I have. I'm going to start by attacking for 3. That's definitely happening. Creature has reach, but not menace. You can see the sky, but not right next to it. And I can play Mortuary here. That's basically free. If it sets up something good. I should have done this before combat, because if I hit Devour, I would have just won. Yeah, that was a little loose. And here comes Hogaak off the Convoke. And Delve. A lot of damage coming through. Stalker ticks up to 4/4. Can we outmuscle this lands deck start? What crimes are they going to commit, and what lands can they flip out of this Free Strider? Wasteland is a crime. Always has been. Float black. Just to send a message. This land comes into play tapped, so they can't find like Maze of Ith or anything super important off of that. Right, I have an 8/8 trample, a 1/1 with no abilities, a 2/2 that is also Grist, a 4/4 that is also Grist. But there's only one loyalty on each of my Grists instead of the 2 that actual Grist starts with. All right, plus a Grist, plus another Grist. Verdant Catacombs can activate Stalactite Stalker and kill a 4/4. This doesn't have any activated abilities. I could kill Free Strider Lookout, put a counter on Insect, activate Grist again, because then the Strider's gone, but I think I'd rather have the 4/4 attacking. I can at least make my land drop, so I have the activation available. I like how I zoomed in on that, like it's possible to read this with all the Grist text added to it. Okay, here comes everybody. Does this have Death Touch? No, but it does mill things when it dies. 8, 12. I'll see if and when they make a construct, basically. Oh, crop rotation. That's terrifying. All right. This could be a Maze of Ith. It's a Caracas. Oh no, I should have responded to this because now they get to commit a crime. Dang. That was a spew. I should have read that some crime was coming. And they found a Maze of Ith. I think this thing has to die. I'm going to sack the Stalker onto it. And then I'm going to exile the Free Strider. Give this +1/+1. And then it's also a Grist. Yeah, this Maze of Ith doesn't need to be in play right now. I could have played that differently. Plus Grist. Milled another Hogaak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll play the Hogaak from my graveyard. I'll at least make them use the Caracas. It's kind of like getting a free Rishadan Port here. The Saga could pop. I assume there's a Soul Guide Lantern in here that can limit my shenanigans. Expedition Map was the choice. Okay. They could set up Merit Lage for next turn after playing Thespian Stage this turn. If they have a crop rotation, they could set it up now. And I have to try to combo kill. Entomb's a great draw. Tutored Beseju Who Endures. I think all my mortuaries are gone. Yep, I could get Dryad Arbor to add to the attack force. Okay, now Entomb's not a very good draw. And they must have another route to the depths if they use that turn. Mortuary, trigger, Soul Cauldron. I'll keep that on top. Still useful. Here comes everybody. They can stop 10 of this damage. They still take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go to 3. Saying there's a chance. It's funny because the Maze of Ith gave me exactly enough to convoke and... Oh wait, no. Never mind. I was counting my lands. Literally not the rules. Okay. Never mind. Okay, there's a Soul Cauldron on top of the deck. Good chance they can produce Merit Lage this turn based on how they've played. Oh wow, they're just done. Okay. Too many bugs. Assassin's Trophy coming in. Probably not Force of Vigor. Maybe Outland Liberator. Oh, Outland Liberator actually seems kind of sick. Trophy, Liberator. That's 7. Do I have 7 slots here? It's another matchup where Bowmaster is basically irrelevant. Bowmaster haters rejoice. This league is wasting my time for playing it. I like Entomb. I like Cauldron. I like being able to combo kill. Hogaak actually seems pretty weak in the matchup, given that they have Maze of Ith and Caracas. I still have to leave some in because it's a third of the deck. That Stalactite Stalker did a lot that game. I actually think Reanimate's kind of weak here because lands are really good at punishing graveyards. I'll leave a few in just in case they become relevant, but I actually think they're kind of bad. Lands does use its graveyard a little bit, but not enough that I want to make mulligan decisions based on Leyline of the Void. One land that enters tap versus the Wasteland deck while I'm on the draw. I like the Cauldron, I like the Grief, I like the Trophy. I don't like that I can't cast any of them. I am going to mulligan this. This is better. I think I have to get rid of Grief. Yeah, it kind of stinks. Dried Arbor kind of stinks too, but trying to make something happen here. Grove of the Burn Willows. Exploration. Unfair. Versus Saga. Be without a Force of Vigor. Okay, this was an insane draw. Now I can actually play the game kind of reliably. Supplier hit Grief 2 lands. Didn't need any of those. That's fine. Thespian Stage. So, Crop Rotation immediately creates Merit Lage. I'm actually going to Grief pitching the Grist, even though I want Grist eventually, because if I know there's no Crop Rotation there, I can add Liberator. If I don't know that, then I have to leave up Trophy so I don't just die. Okay, Surgicling my Griefs in response to my Grief. They see now that I can beat Merit Lage. Them looking at my hand is way more valuable here than them taking the Griefs out of my deck. And we're getting a fetch. Are we going to copy Saga right now? What's going on over there? Okay, we are just rotating some crops. And this Grief has shaken 2 cards out of their hand already. And they went for the Depths. Fascinating. Wasteland, last card in the hand. So now I need to wait for them to spend mana on something. Because if I fetch, they can make Merit Lage in response, and Trophy doesn't help anymore. They're making a construct. I'll fetch Basic Forest right now while I can. This Trophy is actually insane here. Because they can't copy Saga. And they can, I'll just kill their Thespian Stage. They can't copy Dark Depths because then they lose 2 lands. Turns out Destroy Target Permanent is powerful text to put on a card. And they could just beat me to death with this construct, and they don't really need to do anything. Grafdigger's Cage, horrifying. Basically, I need them to mess up here. I'm not going to block because I can't use things that are in my graveyard. I can cast Hogaak from hand by convoking it out. I don't quite have enough to do that, but it is legal in the rules. Cauldron. I guess I attack here. And the race is on. They're on an 8-turn clock, I'm on a 9-turn clock, so if nobody does anything the rest of the game, I guess they wasteland me. They can wasteland my Arbor, and then they're winning the race. Okay, never mind. Somebody has to do something for the rest of the game. If I draw a land and can get this Liberator out while still holding up Trophy, that's a really good position to be in. Okay, I'm untapping with Dryad Arbor. Come on, land. Entomb. Does that win? No. Does it win next turn? Maybe. Yes? Okay. I'm just going to attack for 2. Or no, it doesn't beat Wasteland? Yeah, it does. Okay. Was I not supposed to attack with Dryad Arbor? This is really tight. Like, I'm very close to a win here. I have a Maya. That doesn't help me right now. Yeah, I'm 1 creature short here of just shoving a win. I have to be patient. I have to stop. Yeah, the Wasteland lining up versus Dryad Arbor is just too good. Okay. Yeah, they cracked it off anyway. They realized they were playing with fire on that Outland Liberator this whole time. If I had drawn the Swamp last turn, they'd be way behind, actually. And I'm back in the position where a land wins me the game. And they could, of course, have Crop Rotation, which blows out Agatha's Soul Cauldron. But I am going to Entomb the Devourer this turn. We're tapping mana for stuff. Free Strider Lookout. Okay. End of turn. Entomb the Devourer. And I'm just going to Trophy the Lookout and try to win right now. If they have Punishing Fire in their hand, I'm in trouble. Beseiju does it. Crop Rotation does it. I'm in trouble to a lot of stuff. I just have to kind of hope their hand is 2 lands. Oh, they failed to find a basic. That turns off Punishing Fire and Beseiju. It has to be Crop Rotation here. Okay, attack. Didn't block. Exile the Devourer, question mark. How'd we do? Yeah, thread that needle. Assassin's Trophy, too good. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the play in round 3, and let me tell you, I saw Entomb reanimate in my opener, and the brain chemicals fired, and then I had to go back and think about what's actually in this deck. And I do actually have a pretty straight line to combo. I could fetch Dryad Arbor and Soul Cauldron onto it. That's a turn 3 win, though. I'll try it. I think this is, like, kind of anemic and bad, but I'm still going to try it. Like, I could just Entomb Hogaak first. Start sniffing them out. Like, if they're a Force of Will deck, they're incentivized to counter the first Entomb anyway. If they're a discard deck, they're likely going to take the Reanimate over the Entomb. If they're a Reanimate deck of their own, they might just Reanimate my Hogaak and beat me to death with it. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Underground Sea, Old Border Underground Sea, Black Lotus Avatar. I'm getting Doomsday vibes more than scam vibes here. We'll see if my vibe check passes. Entomb. Yeah, there we go. Fishing out that interaction. I can also just Entomb Reanimate Grief if I want to take a look at what's going on over there. Is that better than actually trying to Goldfish and win right now, though? I'm going to try the Goldfish, because if they are Doomsday, they'll be pretty soft to that. Luda Delta, holding Underground Sea, 6 unknown cards. Oh no. I hope they strip my Reanimate. They're likely to take both, though. Alright, probably Riskaminator is what's going on right now. Pitched a Troll to do that. If they have the full loop here with the Reanimate... Oh, they took my Entomb. You sucker. Yeah, if they Reanimate here and take Soul Cauldron, that's a bummer. And they must have Reanimate, or else like, you can't just leave Grief in the graveyard after your opponent shows you Reanimate. Oh, wow. Or maybe you can. What do I know? Okay, I will try to get them with their own Grief here. I am still going to fetch Dryad Arbor in the end step. Get those beats in. Entomb, oh my god. Well, yeah, I mean, let's see what happens here. Reanimate your Grief. Alright. I guess we did just leave Reanimate or Grief in the graveyard and had the Reanimate, unless you just pondered into it. That was strange, but legal. I'm easily taking Orcish Bowmasters from this hand. And then I'm going to play out Bayou and try to Entomb Reanimate for the win next turn. That was a weird sequence. I think opponent probably forgot I can get their graveyard, or they just found that Reanimate off their Ponder. Those are the things that make sense. Okay, Reanimating Bowmaster. I should have predicted that, but it's fine. It doesn't change my play. Yes, it does. Shit. I should have taken the Reanimate. I did that bad. Okay, I'm going to Entomb in response and put the Devourer in the graveyard. Drop the Devourer. And now I need to draw an untapped land. Yeah, I actually messed that up, because if they had to just cast Bowmaster for 1, then they wouldn't have been able to waste me. That was loose. Alright, gonna have to wait a turn, it seems. I'm gonna leave Soul Cauldron on top in case they discard the one that I have. And I'm not gonna attack. I don't want them to be able to trade off with this while it's still a 3-2. I want it to be untouchable starting next turn. No! Come on! Alright, now I'm just drawing bricks for a turn. They don't have any attacks, though. Yeah, we're just settling into the control game. It's fine. All of this is my fault. Every draw they get for the game is my fault for taking Bowmaster instead of Reanimate. Cycling the Troll. They've got Underground Sea, 1 unknown, and whatever land they just tutor in their hand. Sewers. There's the Sewers. And a Scrubland. Okay, they're Esper. Alright, deck. It's time to give me a land, please. Another Grist, perfect. I got 2 pair. What's your hand? There's the Underground Sea we knew about. 3 cards over there. They found an Entomb. That's awful. Archon of Cruelty. Can you bring this back right now? Or is this an investment? Fudge an A. Alright, we've lost. Yeah, I was busy narrating how my opponent. I was confused why my opponent didn't reanimate, and then I forgot how reanimate works. So bad. Okay. I don't actually think I want trophy. Definitely Veil. Maybe Leyline. This is kind of the fairest matchup we've played yet. Do I want my Leylines? They could still reach into my graveyard. I have this passive graveyard hate in Soul Cauldron, but I'm very bad against their turbo line. I think I want to cut my Entombs. If I cut my Entombs, Phyrexian Devourer just becomes this random one-of in the deck. Maybe I... Yeah, this is actually tough because the juke. If they juke onto Voidwalkers and stuff, I'm going to just wish I had a deck full of Assassin's Trophies and played fair. If they turbo combo me, I'm going to need the Leylines. So I'm actually a deck that's highly susceptible to their juke right now. Do I think I can beat them fair and square is the question. I think Devourer comes out with the Entombs. I don't think I could just play one of those and hope to find it off Stitcher Supplier. Doesn't seem reasonable. And if they have Graveyard hate, Hogaak becomes very bad. I'm going to bring in these 6 and hope this makes sense. Hope it lines up against what they're doing. I will keep this hand. It's pretty good. I don't like that I'm incentivized to tap out into Halfling on the turn they could scam me while I'm holding Veil of Summer, but I am still going to make the just better fundamental play rather than hoping that their hand is kind enough to line up with what I'm doing. Looted Delta, go. We got away with it. Maybe. Okay. I'm just going to play Swamp and pass, because I can Bowmaster plus Veil this turn. Don't really want to see an end step Entomb. No real plan for that. Cycling Troll, okay. It's better than Entomb. It's still a problem. I might be being greedy, but I'm really hoping to Grief next turn. Just hardcast Grief. And hope I'm not too far behind when that happens. Dothy Voidwalker. I'll Veil of Summer in response. I get to draw a card, and then my Bowmaster's uncounterable. And we'll just see if any of that matters. Okay. Bowmaster can't be countered, and I can reanimate their troll. And then this is my game plan now. This is the world I was forced into. I should have expected Voidwalker. It's not just a juke. I'm a freaking Hogaak deck. Give me that troll. Attack for 3. Play another Halfling. They do have a reanimate in the void now. Reanimating out of their graveyard is always scary because Brazen Borrower is one of the cards they play, and then they get their troll back. It's so much worse than just bouncing your own troll, which is already really bad. Voidwalker puts me to 11. Oh, something's happening. Petty Theft. Yep, did have it. Sure. I could have fetched Dryad Arbor here with the other fetch. I'm going to get Mortuary. I think that's as good as it gets here. I'm actually going to keep Grief on top because I can just cast these Griefs. Catacomb. Cast Grief, black, 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 colorless. I'm going to leave the fetch up in case I want Dryad Arbor. We're in. Brainstorm, reanimate, troll, Brazen Borrower. I'm taking Brazen Borrower. They can reanimate a troll. They're going to be at 12 when they do that, go to 6. They attack me to 7. I actually do have enough to triple block. Yeah, I mean, I can't beat Brazen Borrower. I'm not sure if I could beat this reanimate either, but I'm going to keep pushing. I could actually cast a Hogaak if I draw one next turn just from convoking creatures in play and not even using my graveyard. Not that it matters. The game will be over by then. 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, if they reanimate Troll, they're just dead right now because Menace and then they block something and they take 3 from the other. So reanimate Troll's actually just off. If they have an untapped land. Okay, good, they didn't. Yeah, actually, I actually kind of just blew it again and I clicked the Brainstorm. There's a Brainstorm in their hand. If they had an untapped land there, they could have reanimated the Brazen Borrower, attacked me to 7, and then cast the other Brazen Borrower and attack me for 9 next turn. And all this stuff is hard to navigate. Okay, they're just going to 6. Okay, I mean, the math I just did indicates that they are dead to this line, but anything that they have, like a Bowmaster, just flips that. I'm going to fetch for Dryad Arbor to push as much damage as possible. Like 1 cheeky point might be the difference here. Dryad Arbor. Halfling. Okay. I could cast a Grief to see what they're cooking with, and then I'm not necessarily fully committed to an attack. Like I could triple block Troll and try to get this done over 2 turns. Yeah, I'm going to cast Grief. I give up on the cheeky point, but okay, cool. We just won the race somehow, despite Stumbling and bumbling around reanimate no matter what. That card's very tricky. Okay, Assassin's Trophy. I think I want these. Leyline of the Void out. Do I just flip it like this and hope against hope they don't shove an Archon quickly? Grist could kill an Archon or an Atraxa. Agatha's Soul Cauldron is passive Graveyard Hate. Okay, yeah. Trophy can kill either of those things too. They'll get into play and do their thing, but at least they'll be gone as bodies. This hand is mid. They kept 7. What am I even mulling for, though? I'm going to keep. All things being equal, I'd rather have 7 cards than less than 7 cards versus Scam. And I'm going to play Misty Rainforest. And now that I'm on the draw, I'm actually going to hold off on Halfling. And I think Veil of Summer is more important here. Cycling Troll. Gun Underground Sea. Yep, just animating that jerk right away. Fair enough. I'm on a 4-turn clock. And now I'm going to fetch Mortuary. Assassin's Trophy, right on the tippity top. I think I should play Halfling and take 5 here, because next turn I can play around Daze or use Veil to protect my trophy. And they would need discard spell plus Daze to punch through and take it now. Yeah, I take 5. You got me. Ponder. Can't do anything with that at the moment. Wasteland, hate that. You got it. I'm not going to fetch basics. I've resolved a Mana Dork. They probably only have 2 or 3 Wastelands in the deck. I want the selection. My own Reanimate. Do I want this? Is this an angle of the deck I want to play? I'm going to be at 7 if I reanimate their Troll. I don't think I want to reanimate. Call me a wuss, but I believe that's true. I can play around Daze here, but because they Wastelanded me, I can't hold up Veil. I could go Stalker plus Bowmaster, but this land coming in tapped doesn't help that life at all. I could go Stalker, Bowmaster, Hogaak. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to lean on Bowmaster. Maybe I just flip this race on them. Bowmaster, Stalker, a fully dazable Hogaak, but it was free anyway. Come get me. It's funny that Delighted Halfling can't make Hogaak uncounterable. Okay, he's in there. Let's see if we could just flip this race around on them. Yeah, I go to 8. Can't block. I'm really, really in the market for an untapped mana source. Just a swamp or a forest does it. Fetch land's fine. If I can get this Veil of Summer up when I challenge the troll, that's good news. Bouncing Gak, annoying but fine. Grief. I can grief pitching Gak. Take a look at the hand. I think I like that a lot. See you later, Hogaak. Thanks for coming. I need these other cards more right now. There's a long pause here, like they're thinking about maybe forcing grief. I would be okay with that. I don't think I could afford to take another turn off of Assassin's Trophy is the problem. Veiling a Force, always a good deal, but if the Veil doesn't cantrip into an untapped land, I'm at 3 and then dead to Brazen Borrower. I really have to contest the Troll this turn. They did force it pitching Daze. Okay. The entire game revolves around this decision right now. Our Stalactite Stalker could kill Brazen Borrower. I'm going to Veil this. Let's heckin' party. Ah, we drew the untapped land anyway. The full blowout city. Let's go. Alright. Entomb, Bowmaster, Brainstorm. Entomb makes me nervous, but Bowmaster is the card that actually beats me right now. And I'll play this land. Attack for everything. They don't usually have 2 swamps in the deck, or at least I hope that's still true. Kill the troll. For style points, I could have killed the Animate Dead, but it is the same thing. 1 island, I think. They do have an island, not a swamp. Good. They can't Entomb in the end step. They could Brainstorm if they want to get lit up. But if they Brainstorm into Entomb Reanimate, that's plenty good. Or they could just draw a Bowmaster. Annoying. Could perhaps one time in all of human history my opponent not draw the best card on the top of their deck? Do you think it's possible? Has anyone ever experienced that? Because I don't think it's been done. Alright, deck. Keep the goods coming. I need some help here. I mean, they'll probably just Entomb in response, but I should cast this. Grief. It's at least a creature. And it's the biggest creature in play right now. Yep, there it goes. Is there still an Archon in your deck? There is. Please don't draw freaking Reanimate next turn. Mortuary, trigger, don't need a swamp. And I am happy to get any trade I can out of this Orc army. And I don't think they're going to trade Bowmaster for Stalactite Stalker. Maybe they should, though. Yeah, maybe it is right to double block that, actually. That is going to be the biggest thing, and I don't draw cards. Okay, cool. I'm fine with this, but I think it is also correct. All right, they're at 12. Fingers crossed. I'm currently winning. They're tapping 1 mana. They drew Reanimate. They drew Reanimate! I hate Magic. I mean, if it's going to be one of these days, it's just one of these days. On to the next round.
Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic.
I'm on the draw in round 4. This hand is fine versus a fair deck. Like, double Stalker gets big pretty quick, but it's also, like, very bad against an unfair deck. I'm going to keep. I tend to err on the side of the hands that have 7 cards in them. Of Adlands, we're dead. Dragon's Rage Channeler, we might be alive. Nope, we're dead. Is this Arclight Phoenix? I'm just trying to think of what deck would have Dragon's Rage Channeler, Badlands, Lotus Petal in it. Bad news, though. We're in trouble. Second Halfling. How can I cast the most spells that do the most next turn? I think I should lead on Stalker, and then next turn play Stalker, fetch, play Halfling. I think that's how I get the most things, because the Halflings don't cast the Stalkers. Slickshot Show Off. Okay. We're a prowess deck of some kind. Lotus Petal. AKA Sling Dog Wazillionaire. I think I'm going to block this Dragon's Rage Channeler. They're just going to be giving me a trade like that. I'm going to take it. Any deck with Sling Dog Wazillionaire, I would like to save damage against. A Stalker. Fetch. I actually do want this thing to get bigger. Get Bayou, play Halfling. And I could cast Grief next turn if I'm still alive, if they have any cards in their hand. If I survive this turn, I could also just stalk the Wazillionaire. It is an X2. Rite of Flame. Scary. Lightning Bolt targeting Halfling rather than Stalker. Okay. Do you have 2 bolts or am I just dead? What's going on here? Is this Buried Alive? That would be so sick. Wow, I love this deck. I mean, we're so dead, but good job. I mean, show me the Phoenixes, but we're dead. I had not considered bringing back Arclight Phoenix with Slickshot Show Off in it. Very cool idea. Yep, 3 Phoenixes in the graveyard. Literally dead. Dead for Xaxes, even. Okay. This league is coming out blazing on me. It's safe to say. I imagine that Faithless Looting and Metamorphose are in this deck. I'm just trying to think of how good Bowmaster is actually going to be. Are Baubles going to be in this deck? Various Mishra's Bauble varieties. What's important to do here? It's weird because it's such a core card of the deck, but I feel like Grist just isn't enough in this matchup. And I think my Entomb Devourer combo is my best chance of getting a win. With the Grist out, Halfling is way less important. I actually don't even think Halfling's good here. Because they're not a counterspell deck, and I'm not ramping into the #1 legend that I would like to cast on turn 2 from a structural standpoint. Graveyard Hate and Trophies. Take the pressure off and stop their loop. I kind of have to play the control deck here. Oh, this hand is not good. Gonna mulligan it. This hand's not good either. Do I go to 5? I guess. Okay, this one is better. Entomb, Reanimate. All right, so keep bottom one of the ley lines. And what does Entomb, Reanimate do? I could get Grist and just do a super fair Grist. I could take 7 to put an 8/8 Hogaak into play on turn 2. Taking 7 in this matchup seems really dangerous, though. I could bin the Reanimate, or get rid of the Reanimate. I think Entomb is probably worse than Reanimate, though. All right, I'll put away Entomb. Okay, hopefully that slows them down. I think I'm going to have to fetch for the Mortuary and just try to hit another mana source here. Catacombs. Please don't Dark Ritual Oppo Agent. I will concede. All right, Mortuary. Found another Bowmaster. I don't want that. I'll reanimate it if I don't draw a land. Didn't have to worry about it. Cool. All right, sweet. Bowmaster in the graveyard. There's now a target for reanimate. And I hope just for me, because I don't want them to reanimate. But if they do reanimate this, I'll just kill it with mine. I'm actually pretty set up for that. Land Grant. Hardcast Land Grant. You love to see it. Tutor to Bayou. Okay. I could play Bowmaster here, or I could get another Mortuary and get more selection. I think I'm just going to play out Bowmaster. I would like to start getting them dead if this is what we're doing. Just change it from an infinity turn clock to a 9 turn clock. 9's a lot smaller than infinity. The Gak. Okay. I am one short of Hogaak right now. I could reanimate the other Bowmaster, which is 3. That's 6. Okay. I'm going to attack with this Bowmaster and just leave up Assassin's Trophy for the turn. There's that Bayou. Another land grant. So funny. Tutor to Taiga. I guess next turn is going to be start casting Phoenixes. A land. This actually does get me Hogaak because of the extra land off the fetch. Then Mortuary Mire. Ooh, I could just reanimate Grief, yeah. Put Grief into the graveyard. Reanimate Grief. That's better than a Bowmaster, I think. We're in there. Arclight Phoenix, Molten Collapse, Faithless Looting. Collapse could kill Hogaak. That's a bummer, but I can't take them off it. I'm just going to take the Phoenix out. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I even get to attack this turn. Busted. Turns out this was a really good Leyline of the Void. My opponent just said, this looks really familiar. Are you playing Cauldron combo? And I said yes. And they said, well, I can't lose to my own list. So, shout out Ella1. Or Elaone, maybe. I'm going to go with Ella1 because I speak American English. Sorry if that's wrong. But we have found the deck's creator in the queues, in the wild, up against their own beast. Frankenstein's monster has turned on its creator. All right, collapsing the Hogaak. And looting into the Bowmaster. You gotta do what you gotta do. They discarded Buried Alive and Bloodstained Mire. There's still no 2 of the cards in hand. Marsh Flats is 1, 2, 3, 4. Not close to Hogaak here. And I don't need Hogaak. It's a 2-turn clock anyway. They have another Molten Collapse. They could kill Grief with it. And then it's not a 2-turn clock. Or 1-turn clock. It becomes a 2-turn from there. There's the Taiga. Collapsing the Orc Army. Okay. That's interesting. It has the same power as Grief, but doesn't have Menace. I'm not assuming they did it wrong. I'm assuming they know something I don't. Or they care about something that I don't. I said they plan to draw another card. If it becomes 4/4, it becomes really hard to beat. The Entomb is 2 cards. All right, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I still can't Hogaak from here. Opponent's at 2. Now dead on board. Still got a trophy to work with. Ooh, Beseiju. It's party time. I'll get the Dryad Arbor. Put that extra damage on the board. What can they make happen from 3 cards in hand? If this is Ritual, well, there's a Ritual. If it's Ritual, Buried Alive. Ritual, Buried Alive, that's 2. They need 1 more spell here. Phoenix. Wow, they did it. Okay. I mean, they're going for the win, which I appreciate, but it is going to backfire because I have a removal spell. I have to let them get into combat so they know to commit. And then I'm going to win this game at 3 life. That was a nice follow-up at the end, though. Okay. So Entomb Reanimate is a reason to have at least 1 Grist in the deck still. Like that keep that I kept last game. I could have just put Grist into play on turn 2. Confirmed on at least Faithless Looting. Not sure about Manamorphose yet, but I'm happy with Bowmaster. I think I'm going to cut one of the Gaks. It's not a card you ever want 2 of, and I have the Entombs that can get it. I will keep this. Putting in 2 Leylines. We have seen Beseiju in their deck, which answers 1 Leyline, but not 2. DRC, very interested in finding a land before that thing. Well, it's not going to get Delirious because of Leylines. Okay. Now I have to decide,
do I want to stalk or get the Mire and try to Bowmaster better? I think I'd rather get the Mire and try to have a better Bowmaster. Mortuary, not Mire. Hey, they fetched a Badlands. Thoughtseize, that sucks. Okay, well, I have 2 reanimates, so they can't really take either of my creatures effectively, and they can't really take reanimate effectively because I have 2. But by process of elimination, I imagine Assassin's Trophy will just go here. But if they have Graveyard Hate, then taking Bowmaster makes a lot of sense. Or they might have just forgotten I can reanimate it, which I am also guilty of recently. Mortuary. Another Bowmaster. I'm going to graveyard that. I really want to land. Grief. I'm going to Grief pitching Stalker. What are you cooking with over there? Now I have a play even if they do have Graveyard Hate. Buried Alive, Land Grant. And they do have a Boseiju. Good thing I had 2 ley lines. I'm going to take the Land Grant. And reanimate Bowmaster. Okay, I'm now miles ahead. I just have to make this 1 lander hold it. They just passed back without any action. Ooh, the Supplier. I'm going to start with that. See if I just flip a Hogaak and get the pressure on. No such luck. Then I will simply attack. They pass back again. Soul Cauldron. That's a big one. I'm going to reanimate Grief. I'd like to get an update on the hand. Seek the Beast. Sick. That exiled Lightning Bolt and another Seek the Beast. I'm going to strip this Arclight Phoenix from their hand. And their things are still the same as they were before. Yeah, this Questing Druid's actually pretty serious. That is a creature that can juke off of the graveyard stuff, and I am going to need the land for a trophy or Cauldron to really push this over the finish line sooner than later. I'm not going to get free money this time around. We are going to have a game. Okay, they committed the Boseiju to make sure they could cast both of their exiled spells. Bolting Grief, and now they have the biggest creature on the board. Makes sense. Land? Ooh, okay. This is huge. This gives me Soul Cauldron, which means I could just bash into the Druid. Okay, they did not block. I'll exile Grief to make Bowmasters bigger. I don't need to hold up Graveyard Hate versus my double ley lines. Yeah, the second Druid is 1 point smaller than the first one. There's 1 unknown in the hand. Pick your poison, kill Soul Cauldron, okay. Yeah, I can just trophy this Druid, and I'm doing this now before it becomes 3-3. This is a turn of attacking I get. They can't trade with Bowmaster, the hand is too buried alive. And we did it. What a cool match that was against the Dex creator. Shout out again, Ella1. On to the final round. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. Second through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bazaar Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. On the play in the final round with a nice little Grief scam start. Unfortunately, I'd have to pitch my little buddy to do it, but I'm running this. Opponent's username, for God's sakes. I've played against them before because I always compliment this, because this is how I frequently feel, including in 2 of the matches so far in this league. Okay. I will start off our fun little match with one of the most boring interactions in all of Magic. Grief View. Hey, look at this. All right. It is a mirror match in terms of scamming, but they are the blue version. I have 2 options here. I could just take the Daze and then reanimate Grief, take something else, probably Entomb. Or I could take the Entomb and then reanimate target Grief, and if they force that, it's like Grief got 3 cards. But the Grief's body is the 3rd card. So it's a 3 for 3 either way. And I think I'd rather be applying pressure. I'm going to take Daze. And I'm taking Daze because that turns off the Force of Will anyway. And Daze works on its own, Force doesn't. I want to make them have multiple cards. They are fortunate to have Force blue card to kick it off, though, or else I would have been up in their business with their own Troll of Khazad-dûm. I think I'm going to take Entomb. Though, if I can resolve my Soul Cauldron next turn, I don't care about Entomb. I'm going to take their Bowmasters. Okay, I am putting a lot of stock in this Agatha Soul Cauldron right now, but I think that this is the thing that threads the most needles. Because if they just reanimate Bowmaster, that's fine. It's a trade-off with Grief and whatever. And then I know that they haven't drawn a blue card for Force, and I can get Soul Cauldron down. If they leave up Entomb, then I can play Soul Cauldron and not care about Entomb. The way that this could go wrong is if they drew a blue card for Force and they top deck Reanimate next turn. Soul Cauldron's on the stack. What's the word? This would be game breaking if it resolves. We're in there. Okay, cool. That takes a lot of pressure off what their deck's capable of, and I'm just going to be poking for 3. And next turn it'll be 4. The turn after that, it'll be 5. Here comes an Entomb that I am not worried about at all. Yeah, they just pivoted onto Sewers. They probably were planning to Entomb that turn, but now they have to do something else. Kept the card. There's Wasteland. And I'm going to exile their Bowmaster in the end step. Trying to think of what cards I would even be worried about or care about here, and I think that Brazen Borrower is near the top of them. I also just got this giant feeling of deja vu. I feel like I've had this exact board state before in life. Underground Mortuary. I'll keep Bowmasters on top. I'm likely to want to cast that this game. And if they Wasteland me when they're already kind of behind, that's a fine exchange for me too. They could cycle Troll and cast Entomb. They could put a bunch of stuff into the graveyard on short notice. Got another Sewers. They said oops in the chat. I wonder if they misclicked and that's supposed to be Underground Sea. I don't know what the oops is without seeing their hand or knowing what their plan is. I don't see an obvious punt here. Okay, I will exile the Troll in the end step. Grief now has Swamp Cycling 1. I am gonna just grief them. I know I have this Bowmasters, but who cares? I want to know what's going on in that hand, and I want to bust it open, whatever it is. Okay, they're just scooping. Cool. All right. Agatha Soul Cauldron soloed that game. And Rescaminator is the name of the game. I think I want Leyline of the Void and Assassin's Trophy and Veil of Summer. I think I just want the whole boat here. What does that look like? That's basically where I ended up last game. We're not going to get any... no, I did get a Devour combo earlier. Or did someone scoop to it? I forget. But I think I take all these out. Like the whole Entomb Devourer package, because they're going to have Graveyard Hate. I'm going to have Graveyard Hate. They're going to have Reanimates. I'm going to have Reanimates. It's a lot to ask. Or did I last time decide I didn't want to be ley lines and that the Soul Cauldrons and removal spells are enough to carry? I think I ended up there after I saw the juke. Okay, I don't know if this opponent has juked or not, but I think I like this configuration either way. Oh, yuck. The tap land is a deal breaker here. I'm going to mulligan this. This is otherwise pretty good, but I can't just lose to Wasteland against Scam like this. Okay, way better. Keep this and put the backup Grief on the bottom. I wish I could fetch basic Forest with my hand, but otherwise I like what's going on here. I'm just going to get a Bayou. I guess I could pitch this Bowmaster to Grief, but then they can reanimate my Grief. I'm just going to hope they're not on the Entomb reanimate, not draw. End step, something's happening. Please be Undercity Sewers. Uh-oh. Okay, it's a Brainstorm. We're okay, everybody. And there was no upkeep Troll, so they've redrawn at least one of the Brainstorm cards at this point. Alright, Grief pitching Entomb, though they did have an Entomb. And we'll see what they find important here. I can't interact, so I've F6'd. I have an uncounterable Grist coming down. I could see them taking, like, Grist and Bowmaster here. Or maybe they just take randomly whatever, play a land and go into Reanimate for Archon. They took my Grief, fascinating. Cycled a Troll. And played Undercity Sewers. Wild. They must be really worried about something in their hand if Grief is what they're worried about over the uncounterable Grist. And I'll shove a Grist. This is the first uncounterable turn 2 Grist we've had in the league.
There it is on the stack. What if they have Daze and they forgot that it's uncounterable? I don't know. I'm allowed to dream. And Grist is an awesome thing to just have in play here, because even if they do reanimate an Archon, I can like play Stitcher Supplier, mill 3, sack Supplier to Grist, kill Archon, mill another 3, maybe get something going. Like I could clear an Archon or an Atraxa here. They're going to get some cards off it, but I can clear it. Okay, long tank and then Grist resolved. Make a bug. Oh, I hit a second Grist. Double bugging. Wii U. I don't know how many times in my entire life I've actually just randomly hit an insect on a Grist plus. I played the one Changeling deck where the whole deck is built on having lots of bugs. Like it's just like a combo deck where your whole deck's bugs. But this is different. This feels so much better. Yeah, they can't really make a Troll of Khazad-dûm because I just kill that. Not a real win con anymore. Grist already at 5. I could 3-ball my opponent. That does not very good. All right, I'm going to plus Grist. Milled a Soul Cauldron. Disappointing. But that does trigger Stalactite Stalker. A permanent has gone to my graveyard. And rather than attack with Halfling, I'm going to hold up my own Bowmaster. I said my own because it is likely that's what they have here. Okay, killing my Stalker makes perfect sense. And they're just taking blocks on the bugs. That's really interesting. They're not valuing Bowmaster at all. So I'm not going to value their Bowmaster for them by playing my own into Daze. I was worried about Daze a little bit. My deck doesn't really draw cards. I think I'll just play Stitcher Supplier here. If I hit a Hogaak, I could cast it easily. Yeah, I'm going to supply some Stitchers. Come on, Hogaak. 3 cards, no Hogaaks. Okay, fine. 4 mana. If they hardcast a Grief, it'll take a Bowmaster. I'm pretty confident. But they're just passing. What's going on over there? Ooh, Agatha Soul Cauldron is nutso. And it cannot be countered. Let's put that in. And exile... Now I'll plus the existing Grist first. Just in case I No, I boarded out the thing that I would randomly want to hit here. Never mind. Plus the existing Grist first. For no reason. I can exile Delighted Halfling, and then Insect Token can cast Orcish Bowmaster. Mana is an activated ability. Or I could just go for Grist and start pumping them out. I feel like we're in the squeeze, though, where most fair decks and fair plans would not be able to get ahead of this. A Grist milled an Assassin's Trophy. I'm actually just going to attack with Stitcher Supplier here, because I don't care if this dies. And leaving up Soul Cauldron takes away their biggest out, which is an Atraxa or Archon. Even though Grist can just poke that thing, I can stop them from ever even having it. Okay, and then they play this Bowmaster. Alright, I am going to make a move here. Target Delighted Halfling and put a counter on Insect. If their last 2 cards are Entomb Reanimate, they got me. But I think that exchange was good enough just by the numbers and how this game has been unfolding. Alright, they had a Wasteland. I'm going to cast my Bowmasters off my Surprise Bug. Have they had the Daze the whole time? Indeed they have. Okay. Well, the Daze is out of the way now. And they have 1 card in hand. It can't be both Entomb and Reanimate. And I don't care if they reanimate any of the cards in their graveyard right now. Grist too strong. We got a "this is hopeless" sad face in the chat and then a concession. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, when you get a fair deck in the squeeze like this with the Cauldron and the Grist, it can feel really hopeless, which is one of the angles the deck has. And that will conclude this with a positive record for the league, 3-2. And the losses were both to insane thin out or top decks right off the top, which is fine. That's why you choose to register a combo deck. That's why you put the cards in your deck. It's all fine. It's not like my opponents don't deserve to win. Just, you can look at the numbers and say, you were on a 7-outer and you hit on the 1 turn where you could possibly hit, or you were on a 3-outer and you hit on the last turn you could hit, and recognize that that's true without being mad at anybody. And that's how I feel right now. This deck's super sweet, though. I don't remember if we actually got a Devourer kill. I feel like somebody scooped to it. But yeah, I think we did get one. So that means we got a Devourer kill. We had a huge Grist fair deck grind out in that last one. Hogaak attacked for a bunch versus that lands deck. We did a bunch of grief scamming. Stalactite Stalker had a good showing. I think every card in this deck showed up in an exciting way at least once in 5 matches, which doesn't always happen, so I'm glad it happened this time. Super cool deck. Ella1, thank you for designing it. King of the Depths, thank you for sharing it with all of us. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.